Jamuna tira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu Me Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Prahlad Nishinga Prahlad Nishinga Prahlad Nishinga Jaya Prahlad Nishinga Jaya Pancha Tattva Pancha Tattva Pancha Tattva Jaya Pancha Tattva Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Premanandi Jai Om Vishnupat Paramhamsa Parivratkacharya Ashta Sarasata Shishimad Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Gandhara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Gaur Premanandi All glories to the Sangha All glories to the Sangha All glories to the Sangha All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga All glories to Shri Prabhupada Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Prasharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pascharati Prasharani Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Shiveshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Tabhadroke So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we are at Canto 5. Chapter 4, Text 15. The chapter is entitled The Characteristics of Rishabhadeva. So text 15, you can just perhaps repeat after me as it's not on the board. Yad, Yach, Chir, Sanya, Charitam, Tat, Tad, Anuvartate, Lokaha. So I'll recite it on my own. Yada yadyachirasyana yadyachirasanya charitam tad anuvartate lokaha. So the word by word meaning, please repeat after me. Yad, whatever. Shirshanya, by the leading personalities. Acharitam, performed. Tat, that. Anuvartate, follow. Lokaha, the people in general. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Bhaktivedanta Swami. Translation reads as follows. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow. A similar verse is also found in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 21. It is essential for human society to have a section of men, perfectly trained as qualified brahmanas according to the instructions of Vedic knowledge. Those below the Brahmanical qualification, administrators, merchants, and workers, should take instructions from those ideal people who are considered to be intellectuals. In this way, everyone can be elevated to the highest transcendental position and be freed from material attachment. The material world is described by Lord Krishna himself as Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, a temporary place of misery. No one can stay here, even if he makes a compromise with misery. One has to give up his body and accept another, which may not even be a human body. As soon as one gets a material body, he becomes Deha Bhrit or Dehi. In other words, he is subjected to all the material conditions. The leaders of society must be so ideal that by following them, one can be relieved from the clutches of material existence. Srila Prabhupada ki. I'll also read from the Bhagavad Gita that is quoted by Srila Prabhupada in the purport here. And it's a relatively famous verse. I guess you must be also knowing it. And if you do, please chant along. Yad yadacharati shreshta tastat evetaro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. It's exactly almost the same words as the Bhagavatam verse we read today. And the translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada reads as follows. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So please bear with me. I shall also read the purport because it's a very important verse for our understanding. So the purport reads as follows. People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called Acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scriptures, to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The revealed scriptures like Manu Samhita and similar others are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leader's teaching should be based on the principles of such standard shastras. One who desires to improve himself must follow the standard rules as they are practiced by the great teachers. The Srimad Bhagavatam also affirms, like we just saw, that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees. Anybody can remember which verse this refers to? That one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees. Mahajanayena gathasa panta. That's one of the lines of the relevant verse. The king or the executive head of a state, the father and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibilities to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with standard books of moral and spiritual codes. So let us invoke the blessings of our previous acharyas by reciting together the Mangalacharana. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Desatarane Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktyavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatam Surato Pangur Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarvasya Padam Bhuja Radha Madan Mohanam Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadhar Shriman Ratnagar Shinghashanasta Shriman Radha Srila Govinda Deva Pistalibi Sevyamanam Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamsi Vata Tatashita Karshan Renu Svaner Gopi Gopinata Shriyastuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Pre Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Anandamavdam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna. So before we begin this discussion on the auspicious text of Srimad Bhagavatam, I would humbly seek the blessings and the mercy of all the assembled Vaishnavas and senior devotees so that I may be able to perform this devotional service primarily for my own purification. So we are now in chapter 4, entitled Characteristics of Rishabhadev. And perhaps we can go delve a little bit into the history of how we got here. We've been discussing the different stories in Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we came upon the story of King Nabhi. And can anyone recall what preceded the story of King Nabhi? What did we have before the story of King Nabhi? Who was the father of King Nabhi? Yes, King Priyavrata. And then there is another personality, isn't it, Mahakrishanam Prabhu? There is another personality in the middle. I think King Priyavrata, if I'm not wrong, was the grandfather of King Nabhi. So there was Priyavrata, the grandfather, and King Nabhi, and before that, the father of King Nabhi is Agnidhara, yes. That's why it's important a little bit to recollect and recap the history in Srimad Bhagavatam, because sometimes we may forget the intricacies. So the son of King Priyavrata, the great personality, was King Agnidhara, and then King Agnidhara was enamored by this damsel of the heaven, Purvachitti, and then he entered into some penance, and then he got enamored by Purvachitti. And there is a whole description of how lust invoked in the heart of King Agnidhara. And Agnidhara and Purvachitti, in their when they got together, then was the birth of King Nabhi. So King Nabhi, however, is a special personality, because King Nabhi got married to, let's see, anybody remembers who King Nabhi got married to? I vaguely remember. Huh? Meru Devi, yes. King Nabhi got married to Meru Devi, and both were very chaste, and they entered into tapasya and proper remembrance of the Lord. And by the virtue of properly remembering the Lord, what happened? They gave birth to Rishabhadev. And who is Rishabhadev? Yes, King Rishabhadev is the best, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So it's quite marvelous actually that King Nabhi gave birth, and King Nabhi and Meru Devi, they gave birth to the Lord himself. Why? Because they deeply desired to have a son like the Lord. And can there be anybody better than the Lord or like the Lord? No. So that's why the Lord appeared as their son, King Maharaj Rishabhadev. But we see that the trajectory of Rishabhadev's life will be very interesting and very different. Rishabhadev has 100 sons, and the eldest is named Bharata. And the eldest son of King Rishabhadev was named Bharat Maharaj, and the whole world, when it was together as a nation, was named Bharata, after the name of the son of King Bharat. So Bharat Maharaj had 99 other brothers. And this is what we discussed in the previous text. Very nice to actually see how Srimad Bhagavatam is history, and it's not just mythology, because such details are enshrined in the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we see the whole trajectory, how it's developing, and then now we have come to this point where we are discussing not just the family history, but we are discussing the character, yes. And a very important aspect actually of our principle of leading a spiritual life. So we see Rishabhadev and Jayanti had 100 sons. One of them who's very, very famous is Bharat Maharaj. Others are also famous. Maybe we don't know them that well. But if you study the scriptures, they are all very famous. And now we come to a point where the character of Lord Rishabdev is described. And I will just read yesterday's translation, because it seems that a little bit we have lost track. So Rishabdev, he being the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was fully independent because his form was spiritual, eternal and full of transcendental bliss. He eternally had nothing to do with the four principles of material misery, birth, death, old age and disease, nor was he materially attached. He was always equipoised and he saw everyone on the same level. He was unhappy to see others unhappy, and he was well-wisher of the living entity. And this reminds me of the saying, Vaishnav is para dukha dukhi and para sukha sukhi. Although he was a perfect personality, the Supreme Lord and controller of all, he nonetheless acted as if he were an ordinary conditioned soul. Therefore, he strictly followed the principles of Varnashram Dharma and acted accordingly. In due course of time, the principles of Varnashram Dharma had become neglected, and therefore through his personal characteristics and behavior, he taught the ignorant public how to perform within the Varnashram Dharma. And this is an important point, because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Pavitra Naya Sadhuna Vinashayacham Diskritam. And also, what's the other verse? Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata, yada yada hi dharmasya, that the Lord incarnates to re-establish the lost religion again and again. And this is precisely also the role and the purpose of Lord Rishabhadev's activities, that he is reinstating the importance and the right way of leading a life within the Varnashrama Dharma. And what is Varnashrama Dharma? So in this way, he regulated the general populace in householder life, enabling them to develop religion and economic well-being and to attain reputations, sons and daughters, material pleasure, and finally eternal life. By his instructions, he showed how people could remain householders and at the same time become perfect by following the principles of Varnashram Dharma. Then I must comment, actually, this is a very important part of our Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very much applicable to, if you see the world at large, but also our devotees. Because if you see the structure of ISKCON right now, because when the movement started, there were mostly brahmacharis and brahmacharinis, then there were a lot of sannyasis, and then some sannyasis or many sannyasis fell down, and then there were some sannyasis, brahmacharis, and then the most despised class was the grihasthas. And now gradually we see that the grihastha community is predominantly the predominant community in our ISKCON congregation. And the grihastha community or the grihastha ashram is a very significant one, because it's also a point where we can learn from Srimad Bhagavatam here how to take responsibility for the movement while staying in the grihastha ashram. So for all householders or those devotees who are wishing to be householders at some point, or those who have overcome householders' life also, for them also it's nice to reflect where they went wrong or what they could improve or how they could have done better. So this part of Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very relevant. And now we are at a point where we are discussing how whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow. So this is very much akin to the Bhagavad Gita verse 3:21, Yad Yad Acharati Shreshtas, that whatever a leader does, that is followed by the mass, the innocent. And it is therefore important for us. So I feel like today we could discuss two aspects, that how we can follow leaders, and secondly, what kind of leaders we should be. Because it is the duty of Gauriya Vaishnavas to lead society. Because if you look at the Gauriya Vaishnava history, we are a movement of leaders. There was Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. The knowledge of Godhead was lost And also, if I speak too fast, you can please let me know, because I have a tendency to speak fast. So the knowledge of Godhead was lost, but Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he reclaimed the knowledge, reinstated that knowledge by discovering the places of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And even before that, the knowledge of Lord Chaitanya's message was lost, or being lost. And who reclaimed it? The three friends, Shyamananda Pandit, Narottam Das Thakur, and Srinivasacharya. And even before that, the glory of the Lord Krishna's pastimes were being lost. And who reclaimed it? It was the 6 Goswamis upon the instructions of Lord Chaitanya. So you see, the Gauriya Vaishnava history reminds us how we are a history of leaders. We are a movement of leaders. And therefore, each of us, when we join the ISKCON movement, which is part of the Gauriya Vaishnava movement or history, it is our personal responsibilities to see yes, because if you don't listen to Srimad Bhagavatam in the class, then maybe not be in the class. Krishna makes the arrangement. But yes, so we see that, it is our personal responsibility when we join the Hare Krishna movement to become or strive to become leaders. And why do we become leaders? It's because we follow leaders. And in the ISKCON movement, which is the leader we follow? Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada is the principal acharya of the Hare Krishna movement or the ISKCON movement. He is the founder acharya. And therefore, I thought we could discuss a little bit about the position of Srila Prabhupada and how, when we follow the action and the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, we will also become properly shaped in our endeavors in Krishna consciousness. Because that is what today's verse talks about, that whatever the great man performs, the common men follow. And therefore it is a question of character. And now we are discussing the character of Lord Rishabhadev, who is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is to remind that external things are not so important, actually. What is really important is the character. And character could be external, but it is mostly very internal. And this part of Srimad Bhagavatam, especially Canto 5, is so nuanced, because of course, you can just glance through the story saying, okay, it's a story about lust, it's about Grihastha Ashram, then it's about, being a king. But if you really deeply study Srimad Bhagavatam and read what is really being said, it is actually a discussion of character. And Canto 5 especially, we are at a juncture where we are looking at how to build character. And now in management studies and leadership, they give long lectures on how to build character. But here in the Hare Krishna movement, each of us just being in Srimad Bhagavatam, just listening online, just listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, joining the temple, joining the movement, get trained how to build proper character. Because it is said that before we strive to become advanced devotees, first we have to become conscious, we have to become human, and then we can become Krishna conscious. And it does not mean that one has to happen after the other, it's a simultaneous process. Because the Krishna consciousness movement, Prabhupada said, is for gentlemen and ladies. So it's for the highly intelligent class of men and women. And therefore it is also our responsibility to reflect what character are we building while practicing Krishna consciousness. So on a personal level, it is very important that we properly follow the leaders and become leaders ourselves. And who is a good disciple or who is a good leader?
Good follower.
Yes. A good leader is actually a good follower, and a good disciple is one who is a good guru is one who is actually a good disciple. And therefore, in becoming leaders, in becoming gurus, we have to first learn to be. And why is it important to become a guru? Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said so. Anybody remembers the verse where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said we should become gurus? Jare dakho tahe kaho Krishna upadesh amar agya guru hoya taro e desh. That whoever you see, whoever you come across, preach to them the message of Krishna, and by my will you become a guru. So in fact, when you join the Gauriya Vaishnava movement, you are instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to become a guru. And how do you become a guru? By becoming a preacher. And so none of us can claim, oh, I am not a preacher. And none of us can claim, no, I cannot preach because I just don't have it in me. Actually, it is the duty of each of us to preach the Hare Krishna movement. How we preach is, of course, our personal choice. We could preach by becoming a pujari. We could preach by becoming a cook. We could preach by becoming a book distributor. We could preach by becoming a Harinam Kirtaniya. But it is each of our responsibility to become preachers. And what it is said very famously, practice what you preach. So there is a story which Sri Sachinandan Maharaj, His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, quotes in his Gayatri book. It is about one lady who goes to a Brahmana and says, she goes with a little son and says to this Brahmana that I have come to you because mostly people go to Brahmanas to solve problems. So she also went with the problem to the Brahmana and she said, I have come to you with a big problem. And the Brahmana said, yes, my lady, what is the problem? And the lady said, my son, he eats too many sweets. And she said, oh, so that is a problem? She said, yes, and I want him to stop eating so many sweets. So the Brahmana thought for a few minutes and then he said, okay, now you go, come 1 week later. So after 7 days elapsed, the lady went to the Brahmana with her young son. And the Brahmana then chastised the son and told him all Shastric references how he should not eat too many sweets and scientific references how he should not eat sweets. And then he said, okay, so from now on you will not eat sweets. Do you promise? And then the son said, yes. Then the lady said, thank you very much, but I have a question. And the Brahmana said, yes, lady, what's your question? And then the lady said, this you could have said 1 week ago. Why did you take 1 week to say this? You knew all of this already. And then the Brahmana said, yes, I knew it already, but at that time, 1 week ago, I was also eating a lot of sweets. And therefore, I could not instruct your son not to eat a lot of sweets because I myself was eating a lot of sweets. And therefore, from now on, then I pledged that if I have to preach to this young boy to not eat sweets, I have to also adopt this. And therefore, that's the whole thing, that practice what you preach. So when we go out on the streets and we tell everybody, yes, we chant 16 rounds, or somebody joins the temple, we tell them, attend Mangala Aarti, chant 16 rounds, read Srila Prabhupada books. The most important factor in this whole conversation is that we ourselves do it. So unless we do it ourselves, we will make very poor leaders. And that is the plight of society, isn't it? The politicians, they are taking these positions of leadership, but their own personal character is quite... You see how the media assassinates them. It's very public nowadays. And I was listening to a lecture of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj recently, and he was making this point that earlier on, the politicians had some shame, and the media also had some shame, because there was some gratitude also involved, because although these politicians were doing abominable, like they had affairs, etc., but the media would not publicize it, because they had gratitude. Okay, he has an extramarital affair, but he's doing so much for the country. But now what's the case? The politicians are shameless and the media is also shameless. That anything that they do, even their personal life, becomes a story on the front page. So you see, the world is losing its virtue, and then it becomes a responsibility of the devotees to bring or be a symbol of virtue in this world of calamity. And how do we become a symbol of virtue? We become a symbol of virtue by following the virtuous. And therefore, we are very fortunate that we have the example of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, who founded this movement, he himself was a founder, a grihastha, and then he took up so many hardships and risks to travel westwards. Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada travelled westwards at the frail age of 69 to then preach the message of Krishna consciousness. And you can see the ideal character of Srila Prabhupada through everything that he did and that he is. Srila Prabhupada could be, like they say, a Vaishnava is Bajradapi Kathor and Kusumadapi Komar, which means Srila Prabhupada was as thunderous as a thunderbolt. I don't know if any of you ever got chastised by your spiritual master, but I never got chastised by my spiritual master, but I saw people getting chastised by him while I was sitting right there. And it was, yes, you could be shaking when he was chastising you. And even if I was not being chastised, because he was very kind, I was a young girl, he never chastised me, or I was so unworthy that he thought I didn't deserve the mercy. But just being in the same room and witnessing how a person could get chastised, whoa, it was like, let the earth split and I go within the earth. It was such a thunderous experience. So the Guru is as powerful in his instructions, in his demeanor as a thunderbolt. And at the same time, he's as soft as a rose, as soft as butter. So this is the character of Srila Prabhupada also. And I very dearly, I thought I could recollect some stories of Srila Prabhupada, of how he was as thunderous, as a thunderbolt, from Yamuna Devi, because I always really like listening to or recollecting Srila Prabhupada's pastimes with his daughters, because I feel the real sweetness comes out. Because, women by their nature are very submissive, they have this feminine sweet side to them. And in the relationship with the spiritual master, that feminine aspect is very much enhanced. Because then when you surrender to the spiritual master, you really give your heart and you can really be submissive. And the character of a woman, the submissiveness, anyway, when you become before, 434 we know, Tadvidi Pradipatena, from the Bhagavad Gita. So anyway, when you come before the spiritual master, you have to be so submissive. But especially for a woman, the natural character of a submissiveness comes before the spiritual master even more. And Yamuna Devi is one such example, how Srila Prabhupada protected her, at the same time also encouraged her. So a pastime is that they were in, I think, Bombay, and it was a stage program, and Prabhupada wanted his sons and daughters to sit right in his bright white elephants, to sit in front, and Prabhupada was addressing the crowd, and then there was kirtan, and I'm not sure, maybe Mother Yamuna was leading the kirtan, and Prabhupada was playing the kartas. And these ladies, they were standing, and they were also dancing, the Swami step in front. And for the Indian crowd, to see white Vaishnavas was quite astounding. And of course, like we know, in every crowd of people, there are some sober people, but then there are also some crooked people. And I am assuming there were some crooked people because they tried to touch the feet of the ladies. And maybe they were not crooked, but maybe they were just trying to get blessings. But what did Srila Prabhupada do? Do you know what Prabhupada did? Prabhupada was playing karatas. He took his karatas and started beating these people with his karatas because they were touching his daughters. So that's how Srila Prabhupada could become so protective. And that's Srila Prabhupada's very protective, thunderous nature that you must not interfere with. And then we have, thank you very much, Hanuman Prabhu. We are very grateful that we could have your auspicious presence, in physical presence here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram. So, so that's the protective side, the thunderous side of Srila Prabhupada. And the other soft side is that once, you know the story maybe of with Malati Devi, that once Malati Devi was serving Srila Prabhupada. And you know, when Srila Prabhupada when he was dealing with his disciples, whether you're a man or a woman, mostly was a second consideration. First, you were his disciple. So, Srila Prabhupada was in Bengal, and some of his Vaishnava friends, Bengalis, they came to accept a meal, prasadam together, if I'm not wrong about the details. And they came to accept prasadam, and Srila Prabhupada sat them down, and the question was, who will serve? And Malati Devi every day was serving Srila Prabhupada, so there was no question for Srila Prabhupada that she will cook and she will serve the prasadam. And then she was serving the prasadam, but she was very shy because she knew about the very conservative attitude that towards especially Vaishnavis in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, that there is a school of thought that believes that, you know, Vaishnavis should not do this, should not do that. But Srila Prabhupada said, no, Malati will serve. And being in consideration of this, Malati Devi was very shy and she was all covered up and everything. And she started serving. And she was, of course, very nervous. And when she was serving, she was going in and out of the room. And then Srila Prabhupada started praising his disciples. And then Srila Prabhupada started praising her. And then Srila Prabhupada said, that expressed how that she loves him so much that for him, she would cut her throat. And you know what Srila Prabhupada said next? For her, I would do the same. So that is the bond of love. And this is the ideal character of Srila Prabhupada. We hear these principles, Vajradapi Kathor, Komaladapi, Kusumadapi Komal. So Srila Prabhupada was as thunderous as a thunderbolt, but at the same time, he was as soft as a rose. His soft-heartedness was depicted. Therefore, we are very fortunate that we have such an ideal character to follow. Also, other things about Srila Prabhupada. Also, when it came to dealing with other religions, it was again a Pandal program. And Srila Prabhupada had this big Pandal program. Again, I believe in Bombay. Somehow Bombay seems to have many big Pandal programs. And then Srila Prabhupada saw that there was an Arab gentleman who was at the end of the crowd. And Srila Prabhupada said that, call him onto the stage. So Prabhupada called him onto the stage and gave him a seat right next to him. And Prabhupada made him sit down. And Prabhupada saw that he was having, he was following Islam, of course, but he was having these beads. And Prabhupada respected him as a religious gentleman. And Prabhupada said, what is that? And that person got shy. He said, oh, nothing. Srila Prabhupada said, look, I also have. And Prabhupada took out his beads. And Prabhupada preached to him, we chant the names of God. You should also chant the names of God on it. I chant on it regularly. So Prabhupada was so broad-minded that he was even reaching out to the people of other religions with a similar equipoised nature. We read in the Bhagavad Gita how a learned, ideal character person is equipoised. And also we see that through, all his life, Srila Prabhupada, his wife, Radharani Devi said, either it's tea or me. Srila Prabhupada, it was for him no question, Prabhupada just said, well, either you choose in this form of intoxication or you choose me, who is leading an ideal Vaishnava life. So for him it was very clear, and he gave up household life then to preach. Then Srila Prabhupada, as we know, he moved to... actually, when Srila Prabhupada came, he came to the upstate New York, and he started preaching because he thought, the elderly posh gentlemen of America will listen to him because they should be pious, they should listen, but then they didn't listen. And then Srila Prabhupada went to downtown. Srila Prabhupada went actually to the Bowery and preached there, and he attracted the Bohemian youth of America. So we see that the character of Srila Prabhupada is so spotless. And we have to realize that it is our great fortune that we have these personalities and we know about these personalities because it's once in a blue moon. How many times does a blue moon happen? Very rarely, right? Who has seen a blue moon? So it is that rare that we get to follow the footsteps of an acharya and of an ideal character. So I request you on an individual level also to please meditate more on the life and teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Also to build your connection with Srila Prabhupada more, because it is such a rare opportunity, because next life, where will we be? But at the same time, if we take a strong bond with Srila Prabhupada in this lifetime itself, then we have hope. And it is said the Guru is hope for the hopeless. So we have to work towards building our relationship with Prabhupada. And how do we build? Of course, through his disciples, but through his books, through his instructions, to serving the ISKCON movement. And then we have to make it a point to never ever leave this boat of ISKCON, this boat of Srila Prabhupada. And by therefore maintaining this connection with Srila Prabhupada, we will have hope to go back to Godhead. Because once a disciple of Srila Prabhupada asked him that, Srila Prabhupada, what did I do to have such a good fortune to be your disciple, to practice Krishna consciousness, to make spiritual advancement? Do you know what Srila Prabhupada said? You had no good fortune, I made your good fortune. So it is really that we are, he is Patita Pavan and we are the most fallen, and that is our claim. That we are the most fallen and then we can float in the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And it is often said that Srila Prabhupada has said that he can give us the back door entry. I don't know about you, but personally I just feel like the front door, Jai Vijay, imagine Jai Vijay, they stopped the Chatush Kumar because they were not dressed properly. And they were esteemed personality, but then they were stopped. Why? Because they were just not good enough to see the Lord. And then I think when I go to see the Lord, and if Jai Vijay, they will probably stop me and they will be like, what are you even doing here? So then my only hope becomes that if I catch on to Srila Prabhupada's dhoti, when Srila Prabhupada goes, I can also go with him. Therefore, like we discussed today, whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow. It is our duty, therefore, to try to become great men by following the great Mahajena Yinagatha Sapanta. Actually, in this verse, there is a very important line also, because it says the secret of Krishna consciousness actually is resting in the heart of the Mahajana. Therefore, the heart is what we have to serve, and the heart of Srila Prabhupada is this ISKCON movement. And therefore, if we serve the ISKCON movement, which means we come to the temple, we do service at the temple, we go out, preach, we set a good example ourselves, that our neighbor says, oh, what do you do that, I don't know, I find you so impressive. So like this, we can continue and please the heart of Srila Prabhupada by serving his movement and his disciples and his devotees. So with that, it's already 8:30. I guess we come to an end. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. change them tomorrow, the cloth and the dress. Maybe I'll drop a message to Sumiti Radhika and let her know. Thank you. Awesome. I tried that again.
Ele foi. Perguntou, falou que tá, esse lado tudo coberto aí, tudo livre fora.
Uau.
Eu falei pra você que eu não tô dizendo, esse é a mente dele. Você acha que ele é tão chato? Porque a mente dele
Não, pros outros, né? Pra ele fazer o que ele quiser, né?
Mas essa é a natureza da mente evasiva, né? Ele ser tão chato, porque ele não consegue identificar, né? Como ser legal com os outros, ser fixo
O que é isso? Amor ao Harinam ou responsabilidade que tem?
Eu acho que ele tem realmente apego aos sentimentos, apego ao Harinama, mas para a realidade atual você precisa ficar fixo na instituição também, né? Não dá para você ficar por aí mandando. Mas eu acho que por tempo não vai ficar irritando nenhum problema, né?
Mas é inesperado,
Ele
né?
vai sobreviver. Não, é essa a questão.
Totalmente.
Inesperado e outro, né? Formalmente ele tem um build, né? Um DP prescrito, prescrito terceiro, comandante do tempo. Aí eu perguntei para o Chicasso que vai ser comandante do tempo e falou que o Durumis. Brincadeira. Não sei por que não levaram o Durumista junto, né? Porque não aguenta, né? Tá bom, então tem que ser comandante, tá sempre presidente, mas ia ser comandante.
Eu tô surpreso também, quando você falou, eu tô surpreso até agora, né? Que eu fui lá.
A experiência que eu tenho que é, nesses anos é que essa é a natureza do ser humano. Não se surpreende. Ainda bem que, como o Chico Sato falou, né, o serviço para o grupo Bélgico, o Chico Sato está aqui, né? Ele dá para o resultado. Acho que o Chico Sato vai fazer, né, a tabela de serviço, né? Mas também é uma semana só.
Daqui a pouco já na Rússia, viu?
Essa é a questão, sabe? Sai, né, fala de uma semana, mas a semana vira 2, 3, um mês. A experiência que a gente tem é essa. Outra coisa, esse rapaz que está aqui é do Guarani, não é?
Não, ele
Não?
chegou esses dias. Ontem chegou.
Ah,
Você não viu ele no Harinam que não tava não, né? É um doido pra você.
não, eu senti que é doido.
Mas é bom-humorado, né? Mas não se dá nenhum.
Pensei que o grupo de Harinam já tivesse deixado aqui, né?
Um brinco.
Eu vou cantar, deixa ele.
Não, falei pra nossa, bem legal seu irmão, hein, Prabhu? Os dois ali, eu falei, bem legal seu irmão que veio ali. Ele deu risada, você é meu irmão, meu irmão.
Como é bom?
Foi bonito, foi muito legal.
O grupo de Harinam é bom, né?
É bom, é organizado, né?
Eu achei, assim, para mais um pessoalzinho de classe média, né? Que se formou, tem que ter
Investimento, né?
tem que ter uma base econômica, né? Para manter duas vans, trabalho de chão bom, né? Então não parece que eles. Então não parece que é a instituição que banca, né? Parece que eles são meio independentes.
Mas por isso querem vir pra cá também, tá falando coisas, querem ficar aqui na Suíça, né? O pessoal bem bonito, né? Jovem, fazendo Harinam, bem inspirador, né?
A gente está aqui na Suíça, pelo menos eu quero falar, porque a gente está tentando fazer alguma coisa, mas independente é difícil.
O Lu gostou também pra caramba, se ele fecha, né?
Como que tá bom?
Tava bem,
Vendo foto só.
tá chegando foto, então tava feliz, né? É bom, né? Prabhu, você argumenta muito, né? Tudo que ele fala argumentar, manda no.
Ele não gosta. Ovo, Prabhu.
Prabhu, você tá argumentando de agora, eu tô chato, né? Com a coisa. Espero que ele ganhe hoje também.
Ele não falou nem sei o que ele vai fazer hoje. É outro também que tá viajando pelo mundo.
Tá viajando, né?
A coisa mais segura nos dias de hoje é realmente você ficar sobre a proteção da instituição antes de frente para o Papa. Né? Você está sobre a proteção da instituição, você está sobre a proteção do Papa. E na instituição aí tem um dever, né? Que você possa apreciar você se você fizer alguma coisa. Você não faz nada, né? Ele, o Chichaça, estava brincando muito tempo. Eu falei que você ia, ficava um pouquinho, aí viajava, aí vinha de novo.
Não, eu fiz uma viagem faz 2 semanas, né? Eu perguntei pra ele, você vai de novo? Não, vou ficar aqui agora, ele falou. Eu já foi de novo.
Um dos grandes esforços do instrumento também é eles conseguirem ficar fixo constantemente, para não ter mente.
Tá em serviço, né? Mas também. Qual é mais beneficioso, né? Aí tem que ver qual é mais benefício, ficar fixo ou tá aí. Né? Tá fazendo serviço, isso sim, mas. O que realmente traz mais benefício, né? Caminho espiritual.
O mais beneficioso é cantar os instrumentos, né? Em associação com os devotos. A questão dele é que ele tinha um compromisso com o tempo, né? Acho que não vai prejudicar em nada também, sabe?
Vamos começar por lá,
porque dá um tempo, uma semana sem ninguém já não sabe.
Essa madre casada que eu. Só pra. Quem protege ela? Ela não mora no campo, né?
Ela é muito delicada. Ela é muito inteligente, muito qualificada. Ela nasceu em Calcutá, Bengala, né? Conhece desde a infância.
Os pais dela são devotos, né?
A mãe é desde o pai é mais ou menos. Mas pode abandonar. Até onde eu sei, né? A questão é que.
Né?
Eu conheço.
Não, já sei. No primeiro dia que eu cheguei aqui, eu já vi.
Já deu um sei.
No primeiro dia que eu cheguei aqui, no inverno passado, quando eu fui pra casa assim, com na cara assim, já percebi, já, na hora de todas as mulheres. Nem olho pra ela, nem falo.
A gente nunca entendeu o que ele foi para a pessoa ainda.
Explica muita coisa.
O Chichaça pessoal, o nome dela, mas.
Ah, é?
Ela gosta de mim. Ah, Chichaça pessoal. Ela não gosta de Chichaça do jeito nenhum.
Não entendi. Acho que ela tem família, né?
Ou da mulher, para a mulher é muito. A mulher precisa de proteção afinal e elas são emotivas. Então, quando são emotivas, precisa ter companhia, sabe? Ter um suporte, né? Suporte emocional. Um suporte emocional é outra pessoa. E aí, então, mesmo ela sendo forte, sofre. Não é natural para a mulher, quando chegar à noite, deitar e encostar a cabeça no travesseiro e chorar sozinha. Ela precisa ter alguém, companhia, os filhos, o esposo. Mais ainda que a questão sexual é esse suporte emocional.
Essa ligação muito bem, nossa.
Talvez.
Eu acho que ela vai mudar. Onde tá a Chica para o fundo do mercado? Dormindo também? Não. São instaladas ou não?
Então, elas não são arte de graça, elas vão deitar instaladas. Tudo bem que a forma de Krishna não foi de Krishna, mas ela não foi formalmente instalada. Quando a gente instala de lado, a gente convida Krishna para Krishna residir dentro, e isso significa que você vai cuidar de Krishna todos os dias, né? Esse alimento. Aí isso não é para dessas, né? Então não é diferente de Krishna, mas não é uma mulher instalada no sentido de cuidar todos os dias.
Ah, ok. Mas a da Krishna não precisa.
Qual?
Precisa da Krishna.
Eu acho que não é instalado, né? Não pergunte para não de nada Gopinath, porque eu acho estranho para mim só aparecendo muito mostra.
Só não precisa da Krishna.
Entende que a deidade ela reflete isso, essa questão do dever e da constância de ato. Porque no momento que você convida Krishna para residir, como é que você vai fazer? Você vai cuidar um pouquinho de Krishna, aí Krishna agora vou tirar férias. Krishna vai ficar como? Sem comer,
só enterra mesmo ali?
É uma questão de emergência, não é uma questão de sala. Isso não está previsto.
Claro, então não é como se fosse nada escrito sobre isso, né? Claro.
Aí você vai agir por intuição, com paramátima, né? O próprio paramátima depois, né? Como foi o caso da literatura, revela onde ele está. Mas a amizade revela isso, né? A importância da constância de ser fixo com tudo isso, né? Muita gente faz isso, mas não é o ideal, né? Se tem habilidade na sua casa, aí podia achar agora. É o Disney, achou?
As roupas não trocam, né? Ou troca também?
Acho que a sua internet vai trocar agora no final de semana, né? Aí mais troca, amanhã tudo que não. O Chico já não falou pra você o que ia fazer hoje?
Ou não vou pegar a cidade da Devi, tá comigo.
É, porque ele tá na casa de um. É bom? Vou botar sempre e aí ele tá com realmente muito turbulento. O cara falou que ia viajar a pé,
Ele falou que.
e agora de repente realmente mudou.
Ficou bravo, né?
Ele tá bravo, né?
Ele é bravo, né? Também, né?
Ele é muito louco, mas ele conviveu, né, com o pessoal bravo, né, por isso. Olha lá, que o Cachaca fez panqueca com chá pra vocês. Foi tomar às tarde da manhã.
Sério?
Vai ser mais ou menos por aí, deve ter uma sopinha.
Ele fez o que podia e meteu o pé.
Padrão, né? Atitude padrão, né? Tecnicamente quer ir logo, né?
Mas quem vai sustentar ele também pelo. Como ele se sustenta nessa viagem? Ele é tão dinheiro guardado, né? No máximo.
Eu não sei quem.
O negócio será que vai.
Ah, sim, comida, essas coisas, pessoal. É um pouco estranho, né? Imagina, você tá com um grupo fixo. Aí do nada você deixa esse grupo, que você tem uma responsabilidade, né? Aí para outro grupo, como eu disse, né? Uma esposa, depois foi outro. Entende? Essa questão de fidelidade também é muito importante. Constância, fidelidade. Tem casos bem piores, né? Quando o presidente pega todo o dinheiro da cidadania e foge. Isso já aconteceu várias vezes. Quando o presidente pega o carro do tempo e foge. Cuidado. E tava a Alvina, né? Lavando a penar, né? A Alvina não faria. Aí ela tentando comunicar pra mim. Vem cá, chácara. Ai, não, grupo. Vem cá, chácara. Ai, não, grupo.
É difícil menino, não é muito devotos agora, né? Como que. É poucos, né? Aqui não tem agora, né?
Mas é assim também.
É assim, né?
Tem evangélicos que fica magrinho, sequinho. Tem a coisa que igual as fases da nossa vida, né? Tem momentos que está passando por um momento da sua externamente não pode abalar internamente. Internamente você tem que ter um propósito, não é? Eu vou ser isso, eu vou fazer isso e nada vai.
Não, para mim escrever um devoto lá, o filho do Prabhu, como se chama?
Não é assim?
Não, Nitai, Nitai. Ele abandonou o cargo de presidente. E disse que aí não tem várias guerra política aí, né?
Os culturais um pouco do problema. Eles são extremamente, eles são bravos. Assim, tipo gaúcho, assim. Eles são agressivos. Tanto que veja, lembra do Ira? Que é o Irish Republic Army. Tu lembra isso? Os escoceses aceitaram o domínio dos ingleses passivamente. O pessoal do País de Gales também. Quem ficou brigando com os ingleses antes e antes dessa guerra foram os holandeses. Tanto que eu consegui a independência, né? Uma parte, né? A parte rica da Inglaterra não deu, a parte onde vai ficar, que é o norte, Irlanda do Norte,
A parte mais rica ali?
na época, em 1920 era. E a Inglaterra não deu. E tanto que hoje a Irlanda do Norte faz parte da Inglaterra, né? Da United Kingdom. Tanto problema na década de 80, da década de 90.
No tempo aí não.
Ainda não tem.
Verdade, não sei, né?
Então o irlandês tem essa expressão cabeça.
Mas falou que a Moreira está mandando o tempo ucraniano. Não, a Moreira está mandando na Ucrânia.
O pessoal do leste europeu, eles são bons, né? São meio ligeiros, meio chatinhos. Eles não têm muita experiência de vida, sabe? Molejo, jogo de cintura, né? Eles são meio durão.
Então vai chegar as vacas lá, eu vou ter que alimentar.
As vacas vão voltar?
Vão voltar.
Nossa, faz anos que as vacas estão fora.
Vão voltar agora no inverno, tem que alimentar as vacas, eu gosto disso.
A vaca
Eu
vai
estou
ser
assistindo as vacas para
vaca é tudo sática, né? Boazinha. Aqui tem uma vaca brava.
Uma vez eu lá na Bolívia, eu cuidava de uma vaca, cara, eu passava na frente dela assim, ó, ela te dava uma cabeçada, você sentia, quando você estava passando, você sentia aquela vinha assim, energia pesada.
Geralmente elas são dóceis, né?
Eu cuidava com todos os dóceis, todos gigantes, mas dóceis, assim, né? Estou acostumado também, né?
Então, tipo assim, de manhã?
Cozinho 6 horas da manhã, 5.
5.
Okay.
Porque vou fazer pão de snaguinho. E ele precisa de 2 etapas de fermentação. Isso que eu estou preocupado. Não é
Começa hoje, pô. Então... Começa hoje, né? A fermentação ou não?
Não, começa amanhã às 3h30. É uma fase, 1 hora de fermentação, depois se molda, deixa mais meia hora também fermentando. Mas vou fazer o doce, vou fazer requeijão, né? Vai ser bisnaguinha com requeijão.
Uau, que bom.
Mas eles são chatos, eu gosto disso, é chato. Qualquer coisa que eles não gostam. Né? Já fiz requeijão várias vezes, para eles não dá muita bola, sabe? Tem que ser manteiga.
Claro, né? Qual que é o prato então? Bisnaguinha, requeijão, kitri, é o clássico,
chazinho e pudim de leite condensado.
Os pudim mesmo, como se for no Brasil?
Vai ver.
Legal.
É muito saboroso, mas ele tem, porque não tem ovo para dar firmeza. Então a gente mistura com iogurte. Por isso que chama pudim de iogurte. Mas é bom, no Brasil é um clássico.
E tem leite com leite para requeijão?
Leite? A gente vai usar muito liquidificativo. O que salva aqui é esses leites de doação, né? Em caixinha. Aí usa esses leites.
Eu vou lá buscar sopa e a paqueta.
E o chá. Obrigado pela associação.
Obrigado por Não, tô abraçado. Tem até bolo. Tá fechou.
Você tá lá com você, mas